What's the ugly truth about getting sober, though? A lot of people are fearful of it, and they don't even know what it really would mean to get sober 100%. I get phone calls from a lot of wives or husbands that tell me that their spouse is doing methamphetamine. Hello, my name is Pej from Pej Interventions. I'm a recovery coach and an interventionist that's always trying to help people with addiction, with alcoholism, or mental health get the help that they need and hopefully come on the path of recovery. Today's topic is the ugly truth of getting sober. So many things go through my mind when I think about that term and that statement. I get a lot of phone calls from many different people from all across America and from other countries too. A lot of people are barely getting into drug addiction. Some people have been doing it for decades. What's the ugly truth about getting sober, though? A lot of people are fearful of it, and they don't even know what it really would mean to get sober 100%. I get phone calls from a lot of wives or husbands that tell me that their spouse is doing methamphetamine and they're in their 50s and 60s, and I think to myself, oh boy, that is basically a heart attack in the making, a stroke in the making. I've seen these things happen. It could even be an overdose. Why would somebody that's in their 50s and 60s be doing a stimulant that will race up your heart rate and actually potentially put you in the hospital or even put you in your grave? There's got to be something psychological going on there. It can't just be because they're having fun and partying. At this point, you have a lot of life experience. You're, a bunch of decades into your life. Why would someone be doing that? And perhaps there's many different things. Maybe there's a lot of secrets that they have in their lives. Maybe there's infidelity within their marriage. Maybe there's embezzlement, certain types of life experiences that they've had where they weren't really walking a straight line or living totally honestly. And then maybe it might be other deeper traumas, things like sexual trauma, childhood trauma, violence within the home, certain things that have happened to them, like being bullied or that they never actually addressed or worked through, and feeling less than, or wanting to recapture their youth and just live a life where they think that they're having a lot of fun because they missed out on some fun when they were younger. But either way, there's a lot to be said about that. So the ugly truth about getting sober is a person needs to get to a point in their life, I don't care what age they are, where they realize that doing drugs and being ruled by drugs and being enslaved to drug addiction, there's no future in it. Really, at the end of the day, anybody that really needs to become inebriated or annihilated or intoxicated by any sort of drug isn't, or alcohol, which is still a drug, isn't really wholesome in their lifestyle, right? A lot of people depend on certain types of drugs to even overcome anxiety. And one has to ask, where does this anxiety even originate? Perhaps your anxiety becomes more increased and more intensified because you have a certain drug that you depend on to do it, and when you don't have it or the dosage isn't within you, you then seek it or else you get more anxiety. Then there's people that smoke marijuana morning, noon, and night. Sometimes they do it in their youth. Sometimes they do it all throughout their life. Sometimes they do it in their older age. And one has to ask themselves, what is it about me? Because I know the thought goes through lots of people's minds. Am I going to be doing this for the rest of my life? Could I have gotten a lot more done if I wasn't doing this? How much money have I spent on this stuff? How is this affecting my relationships? Am I present with my children? Am I present with my lover? Am I present with my spouse, my husband, my wife? What does my future consist of? Have I been productive? Have I even been, alive? Or do I rely on a certain substance to be able to make me feel like I'm alive? What am I hiding? What am I masking? What am I trying not to feel? I think these thoughts go through lots of people that use. And I don't just say it because I have personal experience with it, but I also say it because a lot of people will call me from different stages of their lives. Adolescents are always talking about, I am getting into vaping, and now I've been doing some other stuff like smoking THC. I'm thinking about doing hallucinogens. So there's the early stages of using as a youngster would do, right? And what is this youngster actually doing? One, maybe trying to act cool, fit in with their friends. The other, escaping, not having to process certain feelings of inadequacy or insecurities. Three, maybe there's been something that's been dramatic that's happened in their life. They've witnessed something, or something's personally happened to them, like some kind of trauma, sexual trauma perhaps. And in order for them to not even have to think about it or talk about it, they'll just go and use and escape. But then later on, when it becomes like something in your 20s, there's some people that go to college, they go to college parties, they want to fit in, they want to have fun. A lot of people will pound beers, a lot of people will do cocaine, a lot of people will do other things. They'll use, what is it, Ritalin, certain types of medical speed to be able to be more alert in school. And then we get over into the other types of opiate drugs. Opiates are a very interesting type of drug because there's a large variety of them. Some of them originate with pill addiction, legitimate pain that pain meds are being prescribed to people. Sometimes people will use them as needed. They don't actually develop an addiction, but some people will start to use them and their body loves it so much that they will even use and abuse them. And then after a while, if they run out and their doctor has refilled their prescription a couple of times, but then cuts them off because they realize that this person doesn't need these anymore, some people might actually resort to buying them online, or to buying them from somebody that might have some, or to buying some that they think is a certain type of drug, but it's really not that type of drug, or even taking it to the next level and seeking other types of opiates like heroin, like fentanyl, like things that will probably get them just as high, if not higher. So when somebody gets into those types of addictions, they find themselves totally stuck. And the cold hard fact is that they need to get off of this stuff. And I think the idea goes through their mind a lot. I think I'm going to need to go to detox, because if I don't and I try to do it on my own, I'm really going to be suffering. I'm going to really be hurting. Some people resort to doing Suboxone maintenance, so that it will just kind of keep them in a position to where they're not doing the heavier stuff that's more deadly, but they're doing this stuff now that's blocking them from actually feeling that stuff if they do it, as in like the opiates and things like that. But then they're stuck on that particular substance. Now, when it comes to Suboxone users, I often see some people that want to be on Suboxone for a long period of time. They want to be on MAT, medicated assisted treatment, for a number of years or even lifelong, right? And then there's some people that get on it and after a while they realize this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't want to be on this either. So how do I get off of it? But they feel stuck and they don't know how to make that final decision to pull the trigger and go and get off of that on top of it too. Even methadone users, a lot of them get caught up in the cycle of the methadone clinic, and sure, certain, like it's not making you go back and do heroin, but now you are either increasing or uptaking the amount of dosage in your methadone, and you're pretty much stuck on something so that you don't do something else. A lot of methadone users actually never seem to think that they want to get off of that, because that becomes a way of life too, and it can also get you high on top of that, so you're not completely sober. Alcoholism is a hard one to overcome if you don't really know it. A lot of DUIs, a lot of things happen for people that drink that are consequential, and so they might lose their families, they might lose their jobs, they might lose their privilege to drive, and then on top of that, they might even become incarcerated as a result of having a bunch of different DUIs and things like that. So alcoholism is another thing that a lot of alcoholics come to certain terms in their lives where they realize this alcohol is dangerous for me. It's getting me into all kinds of trouble. On top of that, it can give you a lot of health problems like your liver, and other parts of your body can be highly affected by alcoholism. So what's the cold hard truth? The cold hard truth is that you can overcome your addiction and your alcoholism by becoming 100% sober, and then it's not such a cold hard truth anymore. If you're struggling with addiction and you have no idea how to do this, there are others like me and others that have come before you that would love to be able to assist you and show you the path. I am so grateful for the old timers that came before me and paved the way and showed me exactly what we need to do as far as getting our lives together and getting off of the drugs 100%, and actually having really good, happy lives without having to be under the influence of anything. My number is 310-596-9356. My name is Pej. Would love to be able to talk to you.